I am Bonnie LaCourse, Marketing Manager with Stanton Chase Boston. With me today, I have Cameo Fucci. Cameo, we talked a little bit before we filmed. I'm not ashamed to say I've done some light internet stalking as well, but I was hoping you could tell us a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, of course. So, of course, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to do this little interview with you. So my name is Cameo Fucci, and I'm a chef, pasta maker, educator, and small business owner here in Brooklyn, New York. I'm originally from right outside Boston, Massachusetts, a small little town. That's kind of where my story starts. I grew up eating a lot of food. Food was always around me. I grew up in a big Italian American household. So my dad was always cooking these like big Italian Sunday dinners. My mom owned a catering company when I was really young. So I got my start in food way back then. And just kind of being around food all the time kind of inspired me to end up where I am today, which is owning a small pasta company here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you own and you operate Allura Pasta. Tell us a little bit more about Allura. Maybe there's any upcoming holiday plans.
Sure, yeah. So Allura started when I was in Italy. I was working, really living on this farm, and it was a kind of a it's called an agroturismo, which essentially they host people there for to explore the land that they live on, this beautiful farm. When I was there, I was making pasta every day with this woman, Sarah, who owned this farm with her husband. And she really is the one that kind of encouraged me to start making pasta when I moved back to Boston. And so that's when Alora started back in 2016. I came back from studying in Italy, and that's really when I started making pasta outside of Boston and selling it at local farmers markets and small businesses, really just to try and encourage people to try what true handmade pasta tastes like. And when I moved to New York in 2018, I wasn't able to continue making the pasta, but I really wanted to be able to continue my small business. So that's when I started teaching pasta making lessons. So that's kind of where my company kind of transitioned from not only making and selling fresh pasta, but also teaching people how to make pasta as well, which is what my business is mainly focused on right now, as well as private events and dinners like that around the city. But in terms of what's coming up for the holiday, so I'm doing these pasta boxes where I'm making two different types of lasagna, a beef lasagna and then a vegetarian lasagna, as well as these delicious ricotta gnocchi with delicata squash. And these are all handmade, homemade by me. And I'm like preparing them fully. So all people have to do is heat them up and serve them to their families. So it's kind of like a nice option for the holidays to get some pasta on people's tables when inevitably people will be a little over turkey. I know in my household we're not big turkey eaters, so it's always nice to have something else on the table.
Aside from getting me very, very hungry,
I know.
this all just sounds amazing. And I'm curious to know the influences you've had behind Allura.
That's a great question. There's really been so many, and it kind of feels like it's always like a continuing inspiration, right? So I mean, growing up, my parents were a really big inspiration for me, just always sharing new foods with me. But then as I got older, I've had a lot of great mentors and teachers along the years. Juan Pedrosa, who was a chef in Boston for a long time, he owns his own restaurant up in Lake Winnipesaukee now, up in Wares Beach. He was my chef at Yvonne's, and he really kind of took me under his wing to teach me all about food. He really gave me a chance. He threw me on the grill at this restaurant in Boston called Yvonne's. And I like over 3 years, I kind of worked my way up to sous chef. And he really encouraged not only me cooking in restaurants, but also really inspired me to continue making pasta while I was also working in the restaurant. He was a big inspiration for me. And then this woman, Sarah, who I worked under in Italy, she was an incredible inspiration for me too. And really, Alora would not be where it is today without her, just because she really gave me the push and the nudge to try something new when I came back. Cutting a little shorter, I think just inspiration I take from the world around me and the people around me and the food around me.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I can absolutely appreciate everything you said there. We, like we mentioned, we are officially in the holiday season. My family, the only thing they really want is food at this
Yeah.
point. But I have to know, what are you putting on the family table this holiday season? And should I be taking notes?
Yes. Okay. I love that. I love that question. So before the pandemic, like before the holidays of 2020, I like me and my family always did like very traditional holiday foods, like holiday staples, like turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, things like that. But when the pandemic happened, it was just me and my boyfriend. We like wanted to do something different. So for Thanksgiving, we did like a full out seafood fest. We had oysters, we had lobster, we had mussels, and that kind of sparked an idea in me. I was like, why do we need to eat all these traditional foods? So for the past couple of years, we've been doing some non-traditional food at our table. So for the past few years, we've always had oysters on our table. Fish is going to be on our table as well. This year, we're going to be doing either like a sea bass or a salmon. I haven't decided yet, but with a salsa verde, an Italian salsa verde. So it's not like a traditional like salsa what you might think of in terms of like Latin cuisine. It's a salsa. It's like Italian, so it's a parsley and mint salsa verde. It's with capers. It's also with a hard-boiled egg to give it like a lot of creaminess, a little emulsification in there. You can even throw a little basil in there if you want a little bit more freshness to it. And that recipe is on my website. It goes great on fish. It goes great on vegetables. It goes great on pasta, of course.
Making a lot of mental notes right now.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for taking time to speak with me to show us a little bit about your story, a little bit about Alora, but more importantly about you.